These are statement of obeisances. So let's begin the class with the
जन
Krishna's devotees never perishes. This is based on one of the promises Krishna made in Bhagavad Gita, chapter 9, verse 31. Where it is that where it is that my devotees never perishes. This is one of his promises. We discussed 3 times related to this pastime. How did Lord Krishna protect his devotees? Let us begin this class by reciting Mangalacharan. We can do it together. Om Jnanatirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपं कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरु श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरुन् वैष्णवाञ्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं गणा रघुनाथं स्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधाकृष्णपदा सहगणा लघुनतास्तां तं स हे कृष्णा करुणा सिंधो दीनबंधो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कांता राधा कांता नमोस्तुते तप्त कांचना गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। So with all your blessings, I begin my class. So the main intention of Lord Krishna to give Bhagavad Gita through Arjuna to us is that like we have to surrender unto him. That is the ultimate instruction he gave at the end of Gita. In order to give that instruction to us, he narrated all like 574 verses to come to that conclusion. Actually, when he started speaking Gita to Arjuna, at that time itself Arjuna surrendered unto him. In second chapter, 7th verse itself says that like, I am confused about my devotees, about my duties, I don't know what to do. I am surrendered unto you completely. Please instruct me what is the best for me. So before he is asking him to surrender unto him, he already surrendered to Krishna. So there was no need for Krishna to speak Bhagavad Gita to him, because he is already surrendered unto him and he has to instruct him whether to fight or not to fight. That was the whole instruction that Arjuna was needed. But at that point of time, Arjuna was bewildered. So Krishna wanted to Arjuna root cause for that. What was the reason why you were lamenting? So he wanted to elevate him from that bodily consciousness to the spiritual platform. And also he is giving instructions through us to him. So the last instruction is Sarvatharman Parityajyam. So surrender unto me, I will deliver you from all your sinful reactions. You are sure to, that is assurance, that is the promise that he gave to me. Do not fear. So surrender, the word surrender has got a lot of misconceptions. They have got it has different definitions. And some people did not really like the word surrender. It says Saranagati, taking a shelter for protection. But the surrender, some people did not like it. And they think that like if surrender unto someone, we lose the freedom or the free will that we have it. But actually, it doesn't mean that. And first of all, we need to understand that what kind of freedom we have. Are we really free? And how much extent we can enjoy the independence or the freedom that we have. So when we surrender to Krishna, we are giving up our false independence. We think that we are free, we have independence. Actually, we are not. We are exercising our free will or the independence within the rules or the guidelines of the place where we are in. We are in the Vahaya state. We are exercising our freedom within the rules of the Vahaya state. We cannot go beyond that. We are working for employees. There we can exercise our freedom, our independence within the guidelines of the employer. So in one sense, we are not free. We are free to enjoy the freedom within those boundaries. That is what we are experiencing every day in every activity that we do. So technically we are not free. So that's what Krishna is saying, that like surrender unto me means we are working as per the guidelines of Krishna. or within the laws of that Krishna's domain. That's what it is. So it's nothing beyond that. It's not also new to us. We are surrendered to the government, to the place we are in. Same is the case with we have to surrender to the Lord to obey His principles. So that's what surrender means. Yeah. So this is surrender, to be submissive within Krishna's laws and act to please Him according to His instruction, Bhagavad Gita 18.66. So just surrender unto Him is following four regulative principles and chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra and serving Guru, taking instructions from him and all those kind of guidelines that he has given in Gita. When you take up the devotional process, we see that we expect that like we are going to have a very smooth sailing. It is not the case in most of the cases, because there is a difference between what we experience and what we expect in devotional service. The moment we surrender to Lord and to Guru, we think that like, yes, all our sins are abolished and we have a clear slate and it's going to be smooth sailing. It's not like that. When that happens, when you see that someone is suffering, the people who are practicing devotional service, they are facing some difficulties in their lives. And we see that like our faith and Krishna and also Guru started waning, slowly decreasing. Everyone has their own reasons why they are not advancing in devotional service. There is no universal cause for this. But the likely reasons are, one might expect that pious people do not undergo suffering. However, it is not always the case. People who are practicing devotional service, they do undergo some suffering. There may be some different reasons behind that. Lord has a different plan for that. But on the platform, it looks like the devotee and non-devotee, they are undergoing same suffering. The acharyas give the analogies like the cat carrying its kitten and a mouse. So it's doing same action, but the feeling of cat, the kitten is like it more secured, whereas the mouse is kind of terrific situation fighting for its life. Same is the case here when devotees undergoing some difficulties. So we don't have to take that as an example and start falling behind in our devotional service. And second instance is that like when sincere practitioners of devotional service may encounter hardships. We have seen them maybe suffering from old age and disease. These four are common, but this old age and disease, these things are common in material life, whether you are devotee or non-devotee. If you happen to see that, and also that might slacken our devotional service. And the third one is when we do not experience the Krishna's reciprocation. He says in Gita chapter 4 that like as you surrender unto me, I will reward them accordingly. If we don't see Krishna's reciprocations in some instances, and we feel that like maybe I have been chanting 16 rounds, I am following regulative principles, I am doing this, I am doing that, I did not see that Krishna is reciprocating to me, that may also slacken our devotional service to advance. So we need to understand here that like when you unplug a fan, it still oscillates for some time. Same is the case here. It doesn't mean that as soon as we accept devotional service, as soon as we surrender unto the Krishna, our material, karmic reactions are nullified. There may be some residual karmic reactions are there, we still have to suffer. So these are some of the reasons, something that make us to slacken our devotional service towards Krishna. And we need to remember that like Krishna's protection is nothing but our spiritual protection. His concern is more about the soul, not about the material things. It doesn't mean that he doesn't take care of material things. Body and soul both are interdependent to advance in devotional service. But his emphasis is more on the soul compared to bodily comforts. And second thing is that Krishna consciousness is a lifelong activity. It is not just for this life, life after life, life after life. It is a continuous activity. Even when you go back home, back to Godhead, still you have to continue there. If you do not continue, will we again come back to the material world? A kind of like we are self-devoting ourselves from there by not doing Krishna consciousness. And the third one is that like we may be physically defeated, but we should not lose faith in Krishna. There may be some instances like making some financial losses and doing some material setback that might happen to us. We should not lose any faith on him. For example, Pandavas. Throughout their life, they all had some setbacks. They faced difficulties that we don't even expect to experience those. Such kind of hardship they underwent. They never lost faith on him. They were on this planet for close to 120 years. In that 120 years, They had a luxurious life for 30 years, the last 30 years. The remaining time, they all underwent so many trials. Though Krishna was with them physically, but they did not lose faith on Krishna. And sometimes some adversities that happen to us might become advantage for us to turn devotional service towards Krishna. So we never know what makes us to become a devotee. If you talk to some senior devotees, how did they become a devotee? If you listen their experiences, that tells us that like, oh yeah, this is the reason because of that bad thing happened to me, I became a devotee. Sometimes we never know. So these are some of the reasons. If you are undergoing some turbulences, some things in our life, we need to remember that like Krishna is taking care of us, and they are happening either for our purification or for glorification. So Lord Krishna, to have faith on him, he gave some promises in Gita. Not only he promised to us, and he also said that like he fulfilled them through his pastimes. For example, let us say like he says in Gita, like chapter 9, Ananya Chintayanto ma yejana patipasate. If you Tesham Nityaviktanam Yogachemam Vahameham. He says that like I carry what you lack and I preserve what you have. There are so many instances like this in Bhagavatam. So for example, like carrying saris to Draupadi and carrying wealth to Sudama. So many instances like he made a promise. He did not make them, he also fulfilled them to inculcate some faith on him. And also how concerned about his devotees as well. And if you go through Gita, there are like 8 to 10 promises he made. So one is like, if you surrender unto me, I reward them accordingly. And if you take my shelter, I will clear all your sinful reactions. If you think of me all the time, you will come to me. And he also fulfilled those promises. And one of the promises he made was this one, Krishna's promise. If someone can read this.
Shipram bhavati dharmatma shashvaja chantin nigachati kanteya pratijaneha name bhaktaha pranashyati.
Yeah, translation. Yeah, go ahead.
He quickly becomes righteous and attains lasting peace. O son of Kunti, declare it boldly that my devotee never perishes.
And this is one of the promises that he made. He is saying he quickly, who is that he? He said in before words, it is in the next slide, I can show that to you. He quickly becomes righteous and attains lasting peace. And one thing we need to think here is that like, O son of Kunti, declare that. Why he is asking Arjuna to declare that? He would have said that like, okay, I am declaring that like my devotee is never going to perish. Why is he asking Arjuna to declare that? There must be some reason behind that. The reason is that like, after declaring Gita, after speaking Gita to him, he is going to break his promise. And also he is going to fulfill the words of the devotee. Both are there. So he is saying two things. One thing is he is likely to break his promise in one aspect. Other thing is that he is bound to fulfill the promise of his devotee or desire of his devotee. That comes in the situation of Bhishma Dev. He made a promise that like he is not going to hold a weapon in the war, in the battle of Kurukshetra. On the other hand, Bhishma said that like I will make him to hold a weapon. So he broke his promise to fulfill the word of his devotee. So that's why he is asking Arjuna to go and boldly declare that like my devotee never perishes. And in this regard, we discuss the pastimes of 3 devotees that Krishna exhibited, and they came in Bhagavatam. I give the synopsis of that because they are all known to us and what lesson they teach to us. The life history of Azamil, we all know that. And the second one that I am going to discuss is Indradimna Maharaj's life history. And third one is Jada Bharat Maharaj. They have some sequence, that's why I put all this together. And let us see that. They are all known to us, so I just presented a synopsis of each pastime, then we discuss our reflections on that. Okay, that's he. He says he quickly becomes who that he is. He says here, Apichetu Durachara. So that's what whoever the most abominable action that he did it, says that even if he commits the most abominable action, if he is engaged in devotional service, he is to be considered saintly. So that he is this person. So when it comes to Azamil, life history of Azamil, maybe someone can read this in volunteer.
The 6th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam recounts the story of Ajamila, whom his and developed devotion to the Lord. But when Ajamila saw a man embracing and kissing a prostitute, his lust awakened. In illusion, he fell under lust's control, abandoned all regulative principles, and fathered 10 sons by the prostitute. The youngest son was named Narayana, to whom Ajamila was deeply attached.
Yeah. So it's pretty self-explanatory. He was a great Brahmana practicing all Brahmanical practices. He happened to see some unwanted thing, some unpleasant thing, and he got attracted to that. Just it happened in a fraction. It's a momentary thing. It did not take much time for him to deviate from the devotional practice that he has been doing before that. He was not able to control his senses. Then he married to the prostitute. Then he fathered children with him. The only good thing, the blessing in disguise was that he named his last son as Narayan. And he was attached to him the most. That is the one good thing that happened in his devotional life. So it's common to every one of us, that death is about to come to him and it was imminent. He happened to see Yamadutas. They came and they take him to Yamaloka to punish all the sinful reaction that he has committed. When he has seen the Yamadutas coming to him to take the subtle body from him, from the gross body, out of fear, he called the name of Narayan, name of his son Narayan, not the Lord Narayan, to whom he was most attached. Since he uttered that word Narayan in a helpless situation, Vishnudutas appeared on the screen. So and they say that they interrupted the responsibilities of Yamadutas. So what Acharyas here explained that though he called a person named Narayan, actually Vishnudutas came in the sense that at that time, Ajamala consciousness was that my son Narayan is not going to help me. But the nature is calling Narayan, that is a consciousness transition from son Narayan to the Lord Narayan. Then the Lord Narayan sent his Vishnudutas and interrupted the Yamadutas. They had a very interesting conversation between them, that is in Bhagavatam. Please read if you get a chance. Finally, they said that he uttered the name of the Lord Narayan, so that has nullified all his sins, not only in this life, in millions of his lifetimes. So he is not qualified to go to Yamalok. So he is liberated from all the sins. He is qualified to go back to Godhead. So Yamadutas left the scene. Najamela got a second chance here. It is not very clear whether his life was extended to go through the second chance, or that was a kind of wake-up call for him, probably a wake-up call for him to correct his life. Then he went to Haridwar. There he practiced almost 10, 12 years devotional service and qualified himself to go back home, back to Godhead. So this was his situation here. The Vishnudutas came and he was about to depart from this world. Vishnudutas came here and took him back home, back to Godhead. This is how Krishna protects his devotees. This is one instance. He was most fallen, but he gave a chance for him to correct himself. So he was under vigilance, Krishna's vigilance care, and he was blessed with the opportunity to name his last son as Narayan, was calling him all the time Narayan, Narayan, Narayan. Though it was a kind of inattentive chanting, but still he was chanting or reciting the name of the Lord Narayan. The second instance is that Indradimma Maharaj. He was a king, great devotee of the Lord. And in olden days, when a king finds a good person to inherit his throne, and they give the responsibilities to that person, and then they go to forest to practice devotional service to go back home, back to Godhead. That's what Indradimma Maharaj also did in his first lifetime. The only thing was that when he was in a deep meditation, Agastya Muni happened to visit him. He was in a deep meditation. He was not aware that he is coming here. So he did not notice his presence. There was etiquette break. Because being a king, he should receive the saints whoever comes, visits him. Since he was in deep meditation, he was not able to receive him. There was etiquette, and the Muni, he became very upset with that, and he cursed him to become an elephant. Dull and dumb-headed elephant. Thing here is that he did not try to justify the reason why did you curse me, why did he not receive him. He just accepted it as a mercy of the Lord, plan of the Lord, and his next life he became an elephant. So he was when he became an elephant, he was enjoying his life in the elephant body, having a big family and being a king, and in a mountain called Trikuta. One time, in that mountain, there was a garden named Rumar. He has got a very beautiful lake, and he was sporting in that beautiful lake with his family. That lake has got other inhabitants in that. He did not really notice that there are some inhabitants in that lake. I am disturbing them. The king of crocodile got very much annoyed with his behavior and got hold of his leg. And initially, he thought that I can fight with it. It's just a crocodile. I can save myself from it. It did not happen. The struggle, the fight between crocodile and elephant went for thousands of years. They both neither died. None of them died. They were just fighting each other. They did not die. One did not win. And eventually, crocodile being an aquatic creature, it did not lose its strength. But elephant started losing its strength. In the other sense, making the crocodile is more potential than that of an elephant. And finally, it started losing its strength, losing its hope of survival. Then eventually what it was, it noticed that I'm going to lose my life. At that point of time, because of his previous practice, devotional service that he did, Lord gave the ability to remember him, and he prayed to the Lord. He was actually Artha Bhakta. He says in Gita, 4 kinds of devotees, they come to me, Artho, Artha, Artha, Jignasa. He is one of those. Actually, he didn't approach him with full devotion. He approached him for some help, Artha Bhakti. But while he offering prayers, his consciousness has slowly changed from Artha to pure devotional service. That's when the Lord, he personally descended from Vaikuntha to save him. When he saw that Lord is descending to him, and he prayed to him that not to protect me from the elephant, so from the crocodile, protect me from the body of the ignorance, because I was in ignorance, please liberate me from that. So Lord descended from Vaikuntha, and he liberated him from that crocodile and took him back home, back to Godhead. But here he has to go through 2 lifetimes. But still Krishna did not leave him. He was under his vigilance. And the third instance is Jada Bharat. This is very popular pastime, but most of you might be knowing it. So Jada Bharat, he was a great king, and we all know that he was a great king, and this planet was named after him, Bharat. And after retiring from his kingly responsibilities, he went to a holy place called Pulashrama, and it is located on the banks of a Gandaki river. There he started practicing his devotional service. And he was able to see the Lord when he was practicing it. He was in such an advanced devotee. Even on this planet, when he was meditating, he was physically, and he was able to see the Lord, visualize the form of the Lord. That was his level of devotional service. One day, when he was taking bath on the Gandaki river, he happened to see a deer came just to drink water, and it happened to hear the lion roaring. Actually, did not see a lion. There was no lion around the vicinity of where it was taking water, but it heard the sound of lion roaring. To save its life, it swam across the river. It jumped into the river, tried to swim across, go to the other side to protect its life. Since it was a pregnant lady, and it was not able to swim across the river, the miscarriage happened, it died and gave birth to a baby deer. This Bharat Maharaj happened to see that, and this baby deer was drowning in the water. He went there and protected that. There was nothing wrong in that one. Being a king, it is a responsibility to protect all the living beings of his kingdom. And he protected that. After that, he started taking care of it. In course of time, he started focusing more on taking care of the deer rather than his devotional service. That's what we see in the second picture here. Finally, all his devotional service, he completely attached to the deer. So finally, when it was time for him to leave the body, and he was thinking of the deer, and he left the body, so he got the deer body in his next lifetime. So that's what Krishna says in 8th chapter. If you think of me at the time of leaving the body, you will come to me. If whatever the consciousness you have at the time of leaving the body, you are sure to attain it. So he was thinking of the deer at the time of leaving the body. He attained the body of a deer. But the good thing was that he did not forget his devotional practices, his fast life. By Krishna's mercy, he remembered all his fast life. As soon as he had the birth of a deer, he went to the spot where he left his body and he started associating with the devotees there. He followed a lot of austerities like a saintly person, eating dry leaves, listening to all the discourses of the saints that are in that ashram area. And when he left the deer body, he got another human body. From there he went back home, back to Godhead. So yes, his life has 3 lifetimes he undergo to go back home, back to Godhead. In every lifetime, there is an advancement in devotional service. He was more advanced in the body of a deer compared to when he was in the body of Bharat Maharaj. He was more advanced when he was in the body of Jada Bharat than in the body of deer. So throughout these 3 lifetimes, Krishna did not leave him. He was safeguarding him, and he was under his vigilance. That's how Krishna takes care of his devotees. If you take all these 3 instances, he did not leave his devotees. May take time for them, but he did not leave his devotees. Let us compare this. What comes to us is that like Azamila and Indradima Maharaj and Jada Bharat Maharaj. If you take these 3 lifetimes and compare to their lifestyles, Azamila has a more sinful life compared to other 2. And in Indradima Maharaj, it was not his fault compared to Bharat Maharaj. Bharat Maharaj, at least he got attached to the deer at some point of time. Indradima Maharaj, even he didn't do that mistake. But he has to undergo 2 lifetimes. Whereas Jada Bharat has to undergo 3 lifetimes. Azamil got only 1. In the same lifetime, he got a chance to perfect himself. So we can ask Krishna, like, why did you do this? So which option is best for us? It looks like Azamila got only 1 life. He did more sinful activity. 80% of his life was sinful activity. Only 10% of his life was fruitful, like inside devotional practice. He gave a second chance to him to perfect his life. He did not give that to Indradima Maharaj. It was not his fault. He was in deep meditation thinking of the Lord. But he has to undergo that. Jada Bharat Maharaj also. He was attached to deer. Maybe like last maybe like 10% I believe 5% of his life is slightly deviated from devotional service. Azamil attached to prostitute, Jada Bharat attached to deer. But still he has to undergo all that. Compared to all these things, Indradima Maharaj and Jada Bharat Maharaj had more pious life compared to Azamil. But Azamil got perfect in 1 lifetime. It comes to us naturally. This question was asked to, I'm not sure it's Prabhupada or His Holiness Radhanath Swami. And their response was, who knows the best? You or the Krishna? So that was the answer. Like, we don't know like what his plan is. Maybe Krishna wanted to teach something to us through these pastimes. In case of Azamil, he happened to see a prostitute. Someone that the association of a man with a prostitute, and he got totally deviated from devotional service. It did not take much time for him. So this says that like how the influence of Maya on us. This fraction of moment, it can take us away from Krishna as far as it can. Even we don't realize that we are going away from Krishna. And does it mean that Maya is stronger than us? Or our intention is weak? We can contemplate that, yeah, Maya is stronger in one sense, it means our intention is weak. If our intention is stronger, Maya is weak. So it all depends like. So what Acharya says that like Maya tries to play with us where we have some weak points. Same is the case we see a lot of administrators. The people want to bribe them, they find some weak points and try to use that as a point and get their work done by bribing. Same is the case with Maya too. It tries to play with us with our weak points. And one thing is that like when that happened to Azamil, he would have asked someone what to do. He didn't consult any senior devotees or Guru Maharaj or his parents. He just went by his thoughts, uncontrolled thoughts. And then if you see here, when Yamadutas appeared, there was a transformation in his consciousness. It did not take much time for him either to degrade. So it's a fraction of seconds, anything can happen. So we can advance in our devotional life, you can degrade in our devotional life. When it comes to Indradima Maharaj, he just obeyed the instruction, the curse of Agastya Muni. He did not try to justify why he was not able to receive him. He just accepted that. So to save him from that, Lord personally descended to protect him from the crocodile. He was not able to recollect all his past life when he was in the body of element because he was cursed like that. Jada Bharat Maharaj, when he was in deer body, he remembered all his previous life because there was no curse. Here he was cursed to become a dull and dumb elephant, so it cannot remember. But one good thing about here is that, like, when he was in that critical moment about giving up his life, a thought came to approach the Lord. He had two important realizations. One important realization is that, like, none of my loved ones are able to save me, but they are all around. They have compassion for him. No one came forward to save him. On the other hand, demigods and all others were witnessing this incident happening. They did not come forward even to protect him. They have the strength. They can come forward and protect him. They did not have that much compassion for him. His family members, they have compassion for him. They don't have the strength to protect him. So the only source is the Lord. These two realizations he had at this point of time. So finally, Lord descended for him. He did not want him even to save from the crocodile. He just wanted him liberate from the body of ignorance. That was his prayer to him. So it is not that easy even for demigods to remember the Lord when they were in difficulties. They always go to Brahma most of the time. They approach Lord through Brahma. Whereas a dumb animal like elephant was able to remember the Lord means that's how Krishna protected his bhakti from his previous life. He said in Gita, I carry what you have. So bhakti he carried from last life to this life. So he was under the vigilance of Krishna, but he did not really give any kind of memory for him to remember because of the curse. When it comes to Bharat Maharaj, he underwent from human body, Bharat Maharaj and then Lady Bharatma, then again Jada Bharat. When he became Jada Bharatma, there is complete realization. The only mistake that he had was that, like, he was attached to deer, and then he took the role of Krishna. And like, I am the protector of the deer. He forgot that, like, Krishna can take care of it. My responsibility is to save it. And once it has come to a certain stage, he would have let it go to other herd of deer. He didn't do that. He took the role of Krishna. I am the caretaker of it. I am the provider of security of everything. The false ego came between Krishna and him. When you take that, Krishna doesn't really interfere with that one. He teaches us that in a different way. Some of the subtle things are not that easy to get rid of it. Some gross things we can easily get rid of it, but subtle things, some impression that we have it, they need some severe treatment to get rid of it. So the compassion that he has for the deer is at subtle level, the bodily concept of life. So he needed some kind of refinement for that one. So when he came to Jada Bharat, he was not attached to anything because he learned from that, from his previous life. Because of his attachment to the deer, he became a deer. When he became Jada Bharat, he wasn't attached to any of the things. But he taught same thing to Raghuguna. At that time, his compassion towards the king Raghuguna was the soul, not at the bodily concept of life. So these are the few lessons that we can learn from these pastimes. So one same lifetime he got a chance to correct. It's like two lifetimes, 3 lifetimes. And then what to learn from Ajamila's thing, we have to learn to tolerate temptations. These are common, we come across in our daily lives. Sense controlling is not that easy until we engage them in service of the Lord. So it doesn't mean that we have to suppress them. We have to divert them in service of the Lord. We have to engage them in service of the Lord. The instance we give the Vishwamitra Muni. To control his senses, he did a lot of tapasyas. Around 70,000 years he did tapasya. Each to control one of the senses, let us say to control anger, he did 10,000 years of tapasya. But he was not able to control. To control lust, he did 10,000 years of tapasya, he was not able to control. When Menaka came, he derailed from that. After that, like he did 10,000 years of tapasya to control anger. When again Indra sent Ramba, he did not control his anger. So he was not able to control all his senses even after practicing 70,000 years of devotion, this tapasya. He was able to control them when he engaged them in service of Lord Ramchandra and Mother Sita. Finally, he got them married. After that, we don't see him in any of the scriptures. He perfected his life by engaging them only in his service. So we need to learn that these temptations are common. We come across them. Instead of suppressing them, try to engage them in a right direction. So lessons from Gajendra story. This is a very important story because it's everyone's story. We come across that. And then our nature, our tendency is to seek comfort, security, and shelter in the illusions of this world. So we are after security and everything, but we don't know that like we are in the jaws of crocodile. Gajendra entered the lake where God, because it disturbed the inhabitants. That's why crocodile caught him. Otherwise, there was no need for it. But our situation is not like that. We are already in the jaws of crocodile. Not that like our loved ones won't protect us. They have compassion for us. But there are some situations they cannot do anything. It's only Krishna. So we have to keep this in mind. And Bharat Maharaj story, it says that like as we progress in spiritual life, compassion natural, it is common. He is a Paramhamsa at higher level of the devotional service. We know that like the three kinds of devotees are there, like Kanishta, Madhyama and Uttamadhikari. Our acharyas are divided them into further. In Kanishta also Kanishta, Madhyama Kanishta, Uttama Kanishta are there. When it comes to Madhyama, again same thing, Madhyama Kanishta, Madhyama, Uttama, Madhyama. Same is the case with Uttamadhikari also. At that level, compassion is there. They start seeing all are the same. But we need to know that like where to impose that. Like Jada Bharat Maharaj has compassion for the deer. Yes, nothing wrong in protecting it. You would have let go after some time. But he did not do that. And second thing is that like transcendental endeavor, they never go in vain. He practiced devotional service for such a long period of time. So he was under the constant vigilance of Krishna. Krishna gave opportunities for him to protect, to go back to him, back to Godhead. And third one is that like Krishna-centered relationships are of great importance. So his relationship with deer was bodily centered. His relationship with Raghugana Maharaj is a Krishna-centered relationship. So Krishna-centered relationships are required to advance in devotional service. And the other one is that like for the benefit of others, we should give ourselves to Krishna. In the sense that like what Prabhupada did for all of us. For all our benefit, he gave his life to Krishna. And then the lessons from, we learn from Ajamila chanting. He chanted the name Narayan only once, uttered only once. And he got liberated from all his sinful reactions. Not only at that time, several millions of lifetimes. In a helpless situation. So we are doing Hare Krishna Mahamantra chanting every day, 16 rounds. It means that like 1728 times in a day. So what is the intensity of our chanting? So where are we stand in terms of, are we chanting like Ajamala did once? Probably he was in total helpless situation. He called like that. We may not be in that situation. When we are chanting, how deeply we are connected to him? Are we completely meditating on him? Or are there any deviations or distractions? And by chanting, like we are spending like 2 hours to chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra. In 6 years of our chanting Mahamantra is equivalent to Dhruva Maharaj practicing his devotional service for 6 months. He chanted Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya 6 months in a row. But we are chanting like 2 hours per day. In terms of time, 6 years of our chanting is equivalent to Dhruva Maharaj 6 months of chanting. So where are we standing in terms of our consciousness after 6 years of our 16 months of chanting? We just have to evaluate ourselves. We may be following regulative principles, that is fine, but we have to follow them at 2 levels, gross level and subtle level. Gross level means externally. We may be just following externally, but internally still the residuals might be there. Anything that subtle level has more influence than the one at gross level. They won't go that easily and they have very strong influence. That's what we have seen in Bharat Maharaj's case. Affection towards the poor. There's nothing wrong in that, but we have put that in a different way. So we have to eradicate. If we have any anarthas at subtle level, we should try to eradicate them. We should try to get rid of them. Otherwise, they overpower our external appearances. That's what we see in case of Putana. He dressed like a nice lady, and all the residents of Vrindavan, when they saw her, she thought that like, oh, she is maybe from heavenly planets. That is her external appearance. Her subtle nature is different. When the real time came, the subtle nature overpowered the external appearance. Another thing is that like When it's practicing this, it liberates us from the material bond. We don't have to undergo the repeated birth and death cycles. These two lessons we learn from chanting the holy name, the intense chanting of holy name. And then when it comes to this, Ajamila protected one lifetime. Why so quickly? These are some of the lessons, some of the things. Ajamila has strong past devotional impressions from earlier life. Earlier he practiced it. Whatever the detour that he took, it was a kind of a sudden temptation. And one thing is that, like, if you look at all three devotees, they have few common things. One common thing is that, like, they did not offend the holy name. Because Ajamila did not commit all the offenses on the name of holy name. That whatever he did, it impacted only his personal life. It did not impact any other's life at all. And second thing is that, like, they did not do any Vaishnava aparadha. Of course, in the Dima Maharaj, it was kind of Vaishnava aparadha, but not intentional. It was situational. They did not do Vaishnava aparadha. So these things helped them to regain their consciousness at the right time. That's what happened in case of Ajamila, like call his son Narayan. And then it emphasizes that even Namabhash can destroy a lifetime of karma if you chant, if you call Lord, in that intense and helpless situation. And Ajamila was not liberated immediately after that. He has to practice devotional service. He spent close to 12 years practicing devotional service in Haridwar. So what Lord is teaching through Ajamila pastime is that, like, the extraordinary power of holy name. That's what he wanted to teach us through this pastime. So when it comes to Indradima Maharaj, it was Vaishnava aparadha. When you do that, the consequences are going to be really severe compared to committing an offense towards holy name. Vaishnava aparadha is really, really serious. The only way to get rid of that one is taking shelter of that person to whom we offended. And we see example of Dasha. He committed an offense towards Lord Shiva, a Mahajan. He was not able to get Lord's mercy even after doing tapasya for 4 months time. That was the intensity of committing an offense towards other Vaishnavas. Of course, he committed towards a Mahajan. That's a very intense offense, but still, like, we have to be really careful in committing an offense towards great devotees. Sometimes because of our proximity with the devotees, because we may not get a chance to interact with devotees, all the senior devotees. Sometimes we may get a chance to interact with them every day, maybe once a week. But if we take some liberty because of the intimacy with them, we are likely to do some mistakes, some Vaishnava brothers. That's what Indra did. So we have to be really, really careful about it. When it comes to Bharat Maharaj, he has to undergo 3 lifetimes because of his attachment. The attachment was so subtle that has to be eradicated. So when he was in the body of a deer, he got that one eradicated. When he came to Jada Bharat, there was no attachment to his family members, no one, nothing. So what it is that, like, Bharat's story teaches that, like, bhakti is powerful, but attachments can delay protection. Can delay perfection. It delayed it. There was a detour in his devotional service. He came back. It delayed because of his attachment to worldly things. So this is the message that Lord is conveying to us through Jada Bharat Maharaj. But the thing is that, like, they are all clear recipients of Krishna's mercy, no matter what. That's why they are in Bhagavatam. As I mean, whatever sinful life he had, because Krishna used him to teach a lesson to us. So, like, despite the temporary setbacks in devotional service, the 3 great souls were fortunate to receive Lord's mercy. They are all great devotees. The Lord showed that the reason for this is that they had not offended holy name. I mentioned that earlier. The Lord showed us not only chanting his holy name is powerful, but we must seek shelter of his lotus feet as we face the challenges in the material world, which poses a threat just like a crocodile jaws. That's what Gajendra did, took his shelter at the crucial moment. He also showed that we must be compassionate so that others may become Krishna conscious. In the sense that, like, if you are in a position to bring them up into the Krishna conscious level, we can associate, we can show compassion to them. If we think that, like, we are weak, they can drag us into their level, we are attached to someone who can bring them up. So the conclusion is that also no doubt about it. And we don't have to worry. We can start our devotional service. Think that like there is saying that like saints have past and sinners have futures. So wherever we are in Krishna consciousness, we can make progress by surrendering ourselves to Guru and Krishna. Krishna's promise is that like my devotee never perishes. These three pastimes tells that like we are under his constant vigilance. He is waiting for us to turn towards him. Once we turn towards him, he will take care of us. So our Guru and Krishna can help us revive our relationship with Krishna and gain his association. He will never forget any soul who even once sincerely prays to him. So we all know that like our nature is that like we don't remember the one who never forgets us. We try to remember those even they don't remember us. We are all fans of, let us say, like, I'm not blaming anyone, like we are fans of some games, some movie, or some, they don't even know, they don't even remember us. That's where it's really like a kind of silly thing that Maharaj says. We are fan of so-and-so tennis player, so-and-so cricketer. They don't even know that. Like we remember them, but we don't remember the Lord who always remembers us, who has been a constant companion throughout our lives, life after life, life after life. No matter in which form we are in, which species we are in, he has been accompanying us as Paramatma throughout our lives. So we have to remember him. So then say, it's not only he will not forget us, but he will be there to rescue us at the right time. These are some of my reflections on this topic, and particularly on these words. And I wrote an article on this one's published in Back to Godhead magazine in November, December issue of 2024. And most of them are from that article. If I have said anything wrong, please forgive me. I hope that
Take any questions, Prabhu?
Sure, yeah.
Gautam says that Ajamil obtained moksha. I think 18 years he was in Haridwar.
Yeah, Haridwar, yeah.
To undo his sins.
Yes, yeah.
But does it say that he obtained moksha or he didn't take birth again?
Yeah, he didn't take birth again. He went back. But yeah, he perfected his life. I mean, when he saw the Yamadutas, Vishnudutas interfered, he did not go to Vaikuntha at that time.
Yes.
He got a second chance to perfect his life, yes. After
But
that,
at the end of that 18 years, does Bhagavatam say that he obtained moksha?
yeah.
Yes. Yes.
And I think 12 years, not 18 years, I'm not sure.
So it's not 12. Yeah, it's 12.
Yeah, 12 years. It's not 18
I have
years.
one more curiosity that
Sure.
Indralinga Maharaj made Gandaki River is in Nepal, India border, where
Yeah.
Shaligram.
Yeah.
So Agastya Muni, before Agastya Muni moved to Deccan, this happened, right? Agastya Muni finally moved to Deccan, the South India. Agastya Muni said that Agastya Muni crossed the Vindhya, never came back. And Lord Ram made, Lord Ram made Agastya Muni.
Yeah.
He moved to.
Yeah, he went here.
He never came back to North India.
I think there is a curse for that. I'm not quite sure about Nehru Mountain. I need to recollect that, but something is there.
Is Ashrama, the forest is still there in that border?
It should be there, Madhada, I guess.
So, Prabhu, I have a question. Very nice. Thank you very much.
Sure.
Very nice class. So, this question has two parts. The first, Krishna says, my devotee will never perish. So, what is the definition of a devotee from Krishna's perspective?
Def-
At the
Yeah,
opening
sure.
part, then those who are chanting, reading, hearing, everybody think they are the devotees. But that's what says, the Prabhupada says, those who think they are devotees, they are not devotees. But those who think they are servant are devotees, they are devotees.
Yes.
That is the definition, is a poetic way of expression of a devotee definition from the devotee perspective. But from the Krishna perspective, what is the definition of the devotee which he sees? Of course, there was a conversation between Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and then Navadvip Dham, like even one time chanting, two time chanting, remember, all those things are there. But your perspective, what is the definition of a devotee? When Krishna says, my devotee never perishes.
Yeah. Krishna's definition of devotee is that, like as you said, he should be devotee of my devotee. I mean, he will be more pleased when his devotee is pleased. Serving, like, let us say, like, as Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati said, like, if, let us say, like, if my Guru Maharaj is pleased with my devotional service unto him, so I'm so dear to him. And whether I answer, Krishna's definition of devotee is that, like as you said, you should be devotee of my devotee, and my devotee should be pleased with whatever we does to him. For example, if we take Vardaraja Swami temple in, I think, some South India, I don't remember that, Lord was able to talk to the one who was fanning him all the time, but he never considered him as his devotee.
So in other words, both are same. The devotee is also thinking, I'm not devotee.
Yeah.
I'm a servant devotee. And Krishna thinks that is a devotee. That's what he wants. That devotee will not be perishing. In other words, what you're saying, both are saying. The Krishna definition of devotion, devotee, and the real devotee who thinks I'm not a devotee matches.
No, I'm not devotee. I'm a servant of servant line. Not that I'm not a devotee.
I'm a servant of servant.
Yeah. So the only thing is that, like material world is that, like I'm a boss of someone else. In case of devotion, I'm servant of someone else. Devotee, tata das das anudas. Yeah, it doesn't mean that, like since I'm serving say devotee or something, still Krishna loves me. In the sense, like if you take for example Kalakanda in Chaitanya Charitamrita, he was a personal associate of Lord Chaitanya. He got deviated from the devotional service. So I mean, what I mean to say is that, like not personal association, those kind of things, they help us to advance in devotional service, but internally we have to be pure, without any ulterior motives. Only thing, Ananya Bhaktas, always think of the Lord. Those are the pure devotees of the Lord. For example, take Pandavas. There is Ananya Bhakta. All the time we will be thinking of him. Nothing else. Krishna and his devotees. I don't know.
It makes sense because then now you answer my question. In other words, both Krishna's definition, devotee definition is both the same.
In one just Prabhupada, yeah.
Makes sense.
So we have to please his devotees. Krishna also said that, I don't remember in Narada Bhakti Sutra, he says that, like, I am not in Vaikuntha, I am not in somewhere, I will be with among the devotees who are discussing about my pastimes or about me.
Yeah, the only other explanation which is given in Chaitanya Charitamrita, when a Navadvip Dham devotees comes every year to see Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, they are asking at the time of leaving back after 3 months, so what is the definition of devotee? Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says 1 year, who else say the name of Krishna? The second time again they ask the same question, and second time he says, those who constantly chanting. And the third time he says, even they are not chanting, by looking at the devotee they think of me. That means, like for example, when I come to temple, I see Krishna, then I'm remembering Krishna. Sometimes when I see the photo. So that devotee is so dear to Krishna, even without even thinking, the thinking of a devotee makes him think of Krishna.
Sure, yeah.
So like that they give the gradations. So but and that is only a poetic way of, this is not literal, it's a poetic way of expressing for the devotee, emphasizing what is a devotion, what is a devotee means. Like, one should be a devotee.
Yeah. He says in Gita too, in verses like one, the other one is that, like the one who sees, what the verse, I forgot it. The elephant, which is the super soul. No, that is in Bhagavad Gita. Pandita Samaya. Vidya Vinay Sampanya Brahmana Gavastini. Pandita Samaya. Yeah. He starts seeing super soul in everyone. That is one. If you don't see that, if you don't, let us say, like everything is property of Krishna. You see super soul in you and also and Krishna is there. If I don't like in some for any reason, it means that I am not respecting the super soul that is in you. We have to see them equally. And also he says that, like once you elevate the stage from Jiva Bhuta to Brahma Bhuta stage, na sochit na conscious. He says that in 18th chapter. So those are the, like how we can distinguish, like whether he is devotee or not. He's seeing everyone equally.
Thank you.
Yes, Prabhuji. Yes, Prabhuji.
So, very nice question. Very well explained the story. What is the meaning of the word perish in this context?
Perish in this means it doesn't, technically doesn't decompose. I mean, don't get it wrong. I mean, yeah, he still, like, I won't leave him.
Because nobody perishes, right? Like
The soul is eternal, yes.
soul is eternal.
Yes.
Whether a devotee or non-devotee.
That is true.
Nobody perishes. So,
Yeah.
So in this context, after your class, I'm understanding, he's taking back to Godhead.
That's true, yeah.
So, but back to Godhead is not our goal, right? Like it is probably for a beginning devotee back to Godhead is a goal. But ultimately, like
In Krishna service.
in Krishna's
Yeah, no matter where we are.
back to Godhead or
Yes,
So
that is true,
I
Prabhu.
always get confused with this.
I mean, yeah, right. I mean, perish in the sense like, yes, you will be engaged always in His service, no matter where we are. Whether you are in Golok, back to Godhead, in the material planet, or lower planets, it doesn't matter where we are. We always want to have His association. It's service actually, not associate serving the Lord. That's what a devotee wants to actually. Not that like he wants to go back to Him, enjoy pastimes with Him. No. Devotee wants is service to Him all the time.
He also mentioned Neha Vikarana as
Yeah.
So the word devotee, what doesn't perish is a devotion.
Yeah.
That what he retained is a devotion.
Yes, Roja, you're right. Yeah. Now he carried that. He says that like whatever you have it, I will preserve it, and I carry it to the next layer. That's what he did in case of Gajendra and also in case of Jada Bharat. As a devotional service, whatever it is, Prabhupada night was that like we'll start from there, from where we left it off. So that one doesn't perish. Sorry, I mean, yeah, I could have said that. See, Prabhupada.
Thank you. We'll move on to the next part.
Here, Prabhupada.
Let's give a bigger